I just want to touch on this comment that the Trump administration made about credit card interest rates. This one's interesting. I've seen it misrepresented a lot on social media. And just to be clear, my understanding of it is there's been no formal action taken, right? Trump has suggested and recommended that these credit card companies cap their interest rates at 10% for the next year, 1 year. This is not like a forever thing. This is not putting a moratorium on high interest rates for credit cards. This is a 1 year deal at 10% interest. Now, let me just tell you that that's a crazy percentage. Would it help a lot of people that have credit card debt? Yes, absolutely. It would help a lot of people. But is it fair to ask these banks to have completely unsecured debt, which the people barely qualify for? It's not like you're giving your W-2s and pay stubs, when you apply for a credit card, right? I mean, it's solely based on your credit score. So these are loosely qualified for, and they're unsecured, and they're asking them to cap them at 10%. I mean, I just think that that's a pretty low rate when you consider the risk of credit cards in general. Now, do I think that it's appropriate that people are being charged 25, 30, and sometimes over 30% interest rates on their credit cards? No. So I get it, but I think the 10% is just too low of a number. But at this point, it's really just a suggestion and maybe a little bit of a threat, because I think Trump came out and doubled down on one of his interviews and was like, they better do this, or else, whatever that means. Look, what's interesting about this proposal is it couldn't be more, it definitely has bipartisan support. This actually harkens back to a bill that Bernie Sanders was trying to get through Congress a couple of years ago that capped what the interest rates could be. That was like a 5-year proposal, I believe. So this is a little different than that. It's 1 year. But look, we're talking about Bernie Sanders and Trump both asking for the same sort of thing. You couldn't have, two more people on different end of the spectrum here. And so this does seem to have some bipartisan support, but just like that bill that Bernie Sanders supported in the past, it didn't get through Congress. So I think it's unlikely that this goes through. And I do think there could potentially be some devastating impacts if this did go through, even if it be for 1 year, because what I fear would happen is, although all these people that have outstanding mortgage or outstanding credit card debt might have their rate capped at 10% for a year, let's say, okay, that's cool. But that means the banks are going to do what they have done during other kind of liquidity crunches that we've seen, where they just slash people's available credit limits on their credit cards, or just close their cards altogether. Say, we have to deactivate these cards. You still owe us the money. It'll be at 10%, but no, we're closing the credit card. They don't have to offer credit to everybody. And that would impact people with more medium to lower credit scores, right? I mean, if they're going to lend money to anybody, they would do it for the people of the highest credit score.